If you have an investment portfolio that is, a particular value, and then over time it is a lot less in value compared to a global currency, that's something to worry about. Hello and welcome back to my Investing in the Pandemic series on the Millennial Investor series. Now, one of the things that happened with the pandemic was the fact that we saw a currency like Naira get devalued. Now, the pandemic offered opportunities for investors like me to buy companies at a discount on the stock market. But then on the other side of it, we saw the Naira get devalued significantly. And this was something to worry about for me as an investor and for every other investor, because if you have an investment portfolio that is, a particular value, and then over time it is a lot less in value compared to a global currency, that's something to worry about. So for instance, let's say the value of my portfolio was worth $100,000. So in December 2019, when it was 360 Naira to $1, that means the value of my portfolio was 36 million, right? But that same 36 million now is just about $77,000 because the Naira is now trading at 465 Naira to $1. Now that is something to be concerned about. And like every investor, first in my community, and like every investor that is actively following what's happening in the global economy and the local economy, it was something to take action on. I'm a millennial investor and I'm very, very, focused on learning as much as I can. And over a period of time, I've been working with my community, the Green Investment Club, teaching them how to invest across multiple asset classes, mainly in Nigeria, because that's where I'm based and I do all of my research and due diligence in Nigeria. Now, to see the value of the investments they've been doing really get devalued was definitely a source of concern. So of course, the first thing I did was, what investment options are available to us, especially the fact that we're Nigerians and we live in Nigeria, that can help us preserve the value of our investment portfolios. I mean, even if it's not the entire value, but at least a good portion of the value of an investment portfolio. And I'll tell you why this was a key concern to me. For instance, one of my mentors shared with me a story about way back in 2008 to 2010. About that period, he had a sum of money, it was about 7.2 million Naira. And he had to make a decision on whether to buy a car. The standard SUV was going for about 7.2 million at that time, or invest money. Now, at that time, the Naira was trading at 120 Naira to $1. So 7.2 million was $60,000, right? But he decided to, switch the currency from Naira to dollars. So he has $60,000 and invest in a dollar denominated asset. Now, today, that same 7.2 million Naira is worth just about $15,000. Now, if he had just kept that Naira at 7.2 million Naira and done nothing, of course, I'm sure he would have invested it, but let's just assume he did nothing. He would have just devalued in value for no reason, just because the currency of a particular country is getting devalued. So as an investor, that's a very important thing to consider. How can I preserve the value of my investment portfolio so that even with all of my actions and saving and investing, I'm not just losing value because my currency is getting devalued on a daily basis. Okay, so what did we do? We found an instrument that could solve the problem, and that financial security is called an Eurobond. Yes, so what is a Eurobond? A Eurobond is a debt instrument that is raised in a currency other than the country in which it is raised. All right, for instance, I live in Nigeria, but we find that the government of Nigeria might decide to raise a Eurobond, right, which is basically saying inviting foreign investors across the world to come and invest in a financial security. And what they're doing is they're putting their stamp of guarantee on that bond that if you lend me money in a foreign currency, most of the time dollar, I will pay you back in that same foreign currency. So the Nigerian government, is a country, we use the Naira in Nigeria, but when they use a Eurobond, it is raised in dollars, right? It is dollar denominated. Now, because this is dollar denominated, it suggests that I am investing in dollars, right? I would have to switch my Naira to dollars and invest in dollars. And the good thing is that I stand to earn an average of 6 to 7 and sometimes 8% in some instances over a period of time on the dollar. Now, that for me was a better option than to keeping my money in Naira and standing the risk of actually getting my money lose value. All right. So as an investor, that's a very important thing for me to consider, because I have to think long term. What's going to happen in 10 years? What's going to happen in 20 years? You know, when my husband and I as a family have to take up some expenses like college fees. I mean, those are key things we have to consider, right? So if you keep, having your investment portfolio in only one currency, you have to consider your options. Now, another thing was, Eurobonds, the minimum required to invest in Eurobonds, it was like $100,000. For some financial institutions, actually as high as $200,000. And that was the problem I thought we could solve. So what did we do as a community? We thought, okay, we could come together and pool resources and see if we can invest together, right? And then we found a partner that was willing to work with us and break down the required minimum investment to a lower rate, right? So with $5,000, we could invest in Eurobonds. With $10,000, we could invest in Eurobonds. With $20,000, we could invest in Eurobond. And it was a great option so that people like us who could not afford, the $200,000 at a go could still participate in a Eurobond transaction, right? So I know that there are institutions that also offer dollar-denominated mutual funds. They are very different. Now, the dollar-denominated mutual funds, you need to ask what they are trading in, because if you've seen any of my previous videos, then you know that a mutual fund is a professionally managed fund, right? So they decide what they want to invest in, and then they give you back your money with returns. So a dollar-denominated mutual fund might be investing in euro bonds, might also be investing in other dollar-denominated securities. I don't know. You have to ask and find out. So there are dollar-denominated mutual funds that you can invest with as low as $1,000 with major investment banks in Nigeria. And there are also apps that can help you invest with as little as $100 or even less. But one thing you have to be very careful about is what rate am I switching currencies? Because if you're switching currency at a really high rate, I know a lot of people that switch it at a high point of, I think about 465 or 480 naira. When the naira strengthens, you'll be at a loss, unless of course you're thinking about living it for the next 5 to 10 years, because analysts tell us that the naira is still overvalued, right? As an investor, they tell us that, okay, the naira is still overvalued. Now, why would you not know what the plan of the Central Bank of Nigeria is? Do they want to continue trying to protect the value of the naira, or are they going to let it free fall and be determined by the market? But I mean, whatever the case, you just need to think about how you protect yourself as an investor. And that is thinking about how you can ensure that a good portion of your investment portfolio is preserved in a currency that would ensure the preservation of your investment portfolio as well, right? So that is what I did in the pandemic, right? And the truth is, I did this in January 2020 because it was a decision I knew that we had to make as a family. So it was way before the naira started to really, lose value in the market. But I'm looking back now and I'm glad we made that decision, because that protected us from losing the value of our investment portfolios. So if you're thinking about how to preserve the value of your investment portfolio in a currency that is pretty much a lot stable than any other currency in the world, right, and a very, very global currency, you can basically switch the dollar to any currency in any country, right? Then consider investing in Eurobonds. So if you're thinking about how to invest in a dollar-denominated financial security like a Eurobond, reach out to us in the Green Investment Club community, and we'll be glad to, hook you up with our investment partner, right? A SEC-affiliated investment partner that would help you get started investing in Eurobonds, all right? If you have questions, leave it in the comment section, and of course, I'll see you in the next video.